let Liz Jameson get started. Thank you for coming today, and thanks everybody here.
Are you ready with the video, or should we forge ahead?
You're live.
Okay, we'll forge ahead. Great, well, welcome everyone. I thought we were going to have quite a bit more folks here tonight, so some people might be stuck in the traffic. Did any of you get caught in the I-5? What was going on?
You know, slow, even on the lanes that weren't involved in the accident.
Yeah.
Oh, was there an accident on that side?
Like it.
Northbound.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, well, let's forge ahead because we have a whole ton of material to cover tonight. I want to give you as much value as I possibly can in the little less than an hour's time that I have with you. How many of you already have a business? Some of you? Okay. How many of you already have a website for your business? Okay, a few of you. And how many would like to have a website for your business? Okay, in that category too. All right, great. Well, I'm Liz Jameson, and I'm with the Washington Center for Women in Business. And so I work for the Small Business Administration and also for the local Thurston County Economic Development Council. And again, you know, my purpose here tonight is to provide you with as much value as I possibly can in the short amount of time that we have. And you know, one thing I'm present to when I was thinking about selling online and how we always get a good crowd for this topic was that, you know, everybody looks for a magic bullet, right? You know, give me the simple solution that will, you know, do it all. But there are a lot of variables, there are a lot of things to work on, there are a lot of pieces and parts that go into it. So I'm going to try and give you a lot of those tonight. And, you know, if you take the pieces that you get tonight and actually do the work, you'll have a really strong foundation to be able to move forward and sell online. Does that sound good? Is that what you signed up for? Mm-hmm. Okay, great. And we may have some more people, you know, just folding in over time, so we'll just include them as they come in. Hopefully, the registration sheet's going around, so if you haven't got it yet, if we can keep that going around, great. And then everybody should have a goodie bag. We have some swag there from another event, so goodie bags.
Anybody else for the sign-in sheet? Okay.
And if you didn't get a goodie bag at your spot where you're sitting, there's some more over there. My business cards are over there for afterwards, and there's some information about upcoming events over there as well. So, all right, with that, let's dig in. So what I hope to do tonight is give you some marketing principles, right? So you understand the big picture and how your selling online fits into that. And then we're going to talk some specifically about online marketing, and then a bit about how to plan your business website. And if you don't have a website, that'll be a really relevant conversation for you. If you do already have a website, it might help you to go back and tweak it and make it more purposeful so it actually does what it is that you want it to do for you. Okay, so the purpose here tonight is to empower you so you have a bigger perspective, a better understanding of what strategic online marketing is, and also to introduce you to some of the tools that you can use to increase your sales. So that's what we'll be talking about. And just to give it a bit of context, what is the purpose of marketing? Yeah, just to generate opportunities for sales conversations to happen, right? We're hoping with any marketing that we do that we're creating opportunities for sales conversations to occur so that then we can close sales. So that's what we're out to do here. And let me just pause here for a minute and ask you, what would you like most to get out of tonight? Do you have any burning questions or something you for sure want to learn tonight so I can spend a little extra time on that? Who has something you for sure want to learn tonight?
I just want the basics.
The basics, okay.
Because I don't know anything about it, so I came here to learn the basics.
Okay, very good. Well, you'll both be in very good shape then. We'll definitely get through all the basics. Wonderful. Who else?
Yes, starting up a website.
Starting a site. Okay, very good. Who else? Something you really wanted to learn tonight?
Just something like eBay, that kind of thing.
eBay, you know, how to use a lot of those sites that are available to you. Okay, we're not going to go deeply into that tonight, but we'll I'll show you where you can get more information about that. Really learn it well. Who else? Anybody over here? What you'd like to learn tonight? You're my quiet side of the room tonight.
Well, something that I've run across is all the different terminology, you know, and how they relate together, and I think, oh gosh, okay, I bought this thing, now I need to buy this thing, and then I find out, no, I really didn't need to, and it's almost like the way that it was presented, they lead you into believing you have to have it,
Yes.
and so I guess the basic parts of what I really need
Okay.
is kind of mediocre.
Very good. Thank you. You know, she's pointing to something that we see very frequently in the technology world, right? Do you ever feel like you're being held hostage by your technology people? Like, because you don't understand it all. They might try to explain it to you, but you might not, you know, get the whole picture of what your options really are. So we'll try to address that tonight too. My hope is to put this all in mostly layman's terms, but to teach you enough of the techie language that you know the right questions to ask, right? And then you can use me or Tony, our business coach in the back of the room there, to work with you to understand further, you know, how to have a conversation with your website designer and that kind of thing. But we'll give you all the basics tonight, and then hopefully you can see what questions to ask, and then you know, really be empowered to understand more of the pieces and parts of this and how they fit together, so that you don't feel a victim of your technology people.
So my bump I just hit dealt with shopping carts and payment gateways. And are you going to be addressing those?
We could talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Let's just go there right now. If you're doing e-commerce, right? You're doing sales online. There are lots of pieces and parts to that e-commerce system. One of them is your merchant processor, right? That's who helps you process credit cards. That could be your regular bank where you have your business checking account, or it could be another bank. Or you could use some other system for merchant processing like PayPal or Square. There's a lot of different services out there that do that, right? And when we get into the website part, why don't we talk a little bit more about how you shop merchant processors and what some of those different costs are. Okay, so back to the sort of big picture for a little bit here, the marketing side of life. There is a marketing guru named Dan Kennedy, who I just love. He has a whole series of books. There are maybe 15 or 20 different books on grassroots, low-cost marketing. And I would recommend that you get your hands on every one of those that you can. That'll give you a great foundation in marketing and also in what really works, what's tested and tried and true. He gives lots of examples and ideas that you can steal and use. So this is his model. His company is called GKIC, and it helps us look at marketing like as a triangle, right? That we don't want to be missing any one of these three pieces or off in any one of these three pieces, else we could easily miss the mark that we're headed for, yeah? So we want to know who our market is exactly. Everybody who breathes and can fog a mirror is not a market, right? So just know that's one of the most common errors that entrepreneurs make. We want to reach more people, right? So it's intuitive, right? We think, oh, we want to reach more people, and so we go very broad, but then we don't capture anybody, right? So I just invite you to narrow it down. We're going to talk a little more about that. We want to get very, very clear exactly who is our specific niche market that we're trying to serve. Then there's media, right? How we're going to reach them. We're going to go to all the places that they hang out online or they hang out in person, the publications that they read, and we're going to be present in all of those, right? And we want to be present with the right message. If we're in the right publication trying to reach the right people, but we don't have a message that resonates with them, then we've lost our potential customer. So we want to keep all three of those things in mind and in perspective as we're developing all of our marketing materials. So here's another common entrepreneurial error, yeah? Very often, we'll go out, we'll develop flyers, we'll post the flyers everywhere, and then we wonder why nothing has happened. And that can happen with any kind of advertising, right? It could be a newspaper ad, it could be your website, it could be a print ad, a piece that you send in the mail. And for any of those things, you know, something that typically happens is we don't create a clear purpose for what we want that piece to do for us. So I would just invite you to create a very specific, clear, measurable intention for each marketing piece that you have, and that's going to include your website too. We're going to figure out what you want it to do for you and how you're going to measure those results. So for every advertising piece, you're going to have a clear intention for your website, for a brochure piece, a flyer, a print ad, a direct mail campaign if you do that, any kind of ad, and even your email marketing campaigns as well. And each email within a series of email might have an individual purpose, and then the overall campaign might have a larger purpose. So we want to be able to track and measure all of those things. Now the game of business, the language of business is numbers, isn't it? So we're going to measure with numbers all of those results that we're out to produce and see what's working and what's not. And that way we know what to do more of and what to change. Okay, so you'll want to have a marketing plan. How many of you plan to seek a commercial loan for your business? Anybody? Okay. Okay. No one here. Okay. So if you put together a business plan, one part of that is your marketing plan. And that's going to be your every month, day in, day out guidebook to what to do now to cause more sales to occur, whether online or some other type of selling venue, either in person or if you're on Amazon.com or wherever, all the mediums that you use to sell are going to be included in your marketing plan. And if you put your email address on the registration sheets now at the back of the room there, then we will send you a copy of the marketing plan template. Okay, and that helps you clarify who your specific ideal client is and what activities you're actually going to do every month to move things forward. Okay, so you'll get a copy of that. You'll want to customize it. We're not going to look at it tonight because we don't have enough time, but you'll want to customize it for yourself. It has a whole bunch of ideas in there, like every holiday that you could plan an event around or plan a promotion around. There's a whole ton of different social media ideas in there, so take the ideas that are in the marketing plan template. You can steal them and use them, or you can customize them and create different ones, or both. And that'll be a good tool that every time when you feel stuck, when you feel like sales are not occurring the way that you want them to occur, then you go back to that marketing plan, and that's your action list. So you know, what can I do today that moves forward my sales numbers? Okay, and we're going to create reasons for people to keep coming back to your site and buying from you each month. And you're going to see more of that when you look at the marketing plan template. You'll be able to see what I'm talking about there. All the time, every week, every month, we're creating reasons for people to keep coming back and to keep buying more. And hopefully we have some kind of loyalty programs as well, right? So that when we get a customer, we keep that customer and they buy from us over and over and over again, right? That's what we really want. So one of the big distinctions between a small business person and a person who's really starting to grow and get traction is that your thinking shifts, right? Your thinking shifts from thinking onesie, twosie sales, how can I get one here, how can I get one there, to how can I develop long-term ongoing contracts? How can I develop customer relationships where they buy from me every month for a long period of time? So you start to think long-term ongoing relationships and contracts instead of just one-off sales. So I'd invite you to make that shift now, right? Just start thinking now how you can plan for long-term relationships and long-term sales, not just for this month. Okay, let's see, we did that. We looked at, we won't have time to look at marketing plan template today, but you'll be able to look at it. We're going to schedule all of our events and promotions in there. You can also schedule out all your social media posts. Did you know that? There's a tool called Hootsuite, and Hootsuite will allow you to schedule out all your Facebook posts, your Twitter posts, you know, and have it, so you're like mapping out, let's say, your year for the rest of this year. You could say, you know, every week I want to have a Facebook post about X, whatever X is for you. And every week I want to have a Twitter post, or every day I'm going to have a Twitter post. And you plan them all in, you program them in there, and Hootsuite will post them for you. That way, if you get around to, you know, doing some extra posts, great. But you'll always have fresh content going up. But what folks don't know is that you're not in there managing that every day. You're managing it one time for a period of time, and then it's all automated for you.
Would you mind spell the website again? How
Yes,
do you spell?
Hootsuite, it's HOOTSUITE.
Okay.
Yeah. If you Google it, you'll find it.
It's fantastic. We use it at the library.
Really?
Yeah, we schedule our weekend posts that way, so we don't have to be working on the weekends.
Oh, wonderful, I love
Yes.
it. Do you guys post every day to your various social media channels?
Most of them, yeah. Facebook and Twitter, but Instagram not every day, LinkedIn not every day.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. There's a live example, wonderful, I love it.
That's great.
Does it cost Hootsuite?
I think it's, the base level's free, and then, you know, you can upgrade,
Okay.
so I think it depends on how you use it. Yeah. So, and then the other thing I do is I take my marketing plan, right, and put occasions to accomplish those things into my calendar, right, so that you have the marketing tasks scheduled. You know, it's very easy when you have your own business to get sucked into all the different things that are going on and all the different hats that you wear, right, as an entrepreneur. Do you notice that? You're changing hats all the time, and you're managing customers, and you're managing marketing materials, and you're updating your website, and you've got social media to deal with, and you've got invoicing and inventory and services and whatever all you have, right? So I would invite you to schedule a time, either each day or each week, to do your marketing tasks and also your sales tasks, by the way, like actually have sales conversations. I would invite you to put those things into your calendar and hold them sacred, right? Because if you don't have your sales conversations, then what is all the rest of it for, right? If you don't have sales occurring, you don't have a business. You know, the IRS makes a distinction between a hobby and a business. Does anybody know what it is? What's the difference, according to the
One
IRS?
makes money and one doesn't.
Yes, exactly. Profit is the difference, right? You can have a hobby, but if you're not making profit, the IRS does not call it a business. And by the way, if you take lots of business tax deductions and you don't show a profit year after year, you could become a target for an audit, because the IRS could come back and say, oh no, you can never take all of these business tax deductions. You were never a business. You've got to pay all that back with interest and penalties, because they come in and say, oh, well, if you for 3 years in a row didn't have any profit, you're really just a hobby over here, not actually a business. So it's something to be mindful of. So schedule your sales time and schedule your marketing time so you don't end up there. You know, in business and in life too, works across all of life, but especially in business, right? We have these 3 limited resources to manage. We have limited time, we have limited energy and attention, brain space, you know, that we can put towards this business, right? Because we may have family, another job, who knows, right? Other things to manage. And we have limited money that we can put into this thing. So I want to invite you to manage all these 3 resources very carefully, and to insist that you have a return on the investment of them. So when you invest an increment of time, when you invest an increment of your brain space or energy or attention in your business, or when you spend a marketing dollar, I want you to have a return on your investment. So you have to be measuring for return on investment to know what your return on investment is, right? So here's some different ways to measure return on your investment. Let's say you buy a banner ad on a site that is well trafficked by people who you're trying to reach. And let's say you pay $500 for that banner ad. You get a new customer from that ad, and they buy a $500 product from you. Did you break even on the ad? We say no over here. How come?
Well, you have invested in a product that you sold to the customer.
Yes. Yeah, you have costs, right, associated with producing the product. So you would have to deduct those before we know here if we had any profit in the conversation. So measure for return on investment every time you get an ad, and make sure that it is paying for itself. And that means you've got to include all the costs. You know, don't just look at the surface level. Look at all the costs of your time, your energy, and your money that you're putting into the thing, and make sure you still, after all that, have a profit. Here's another thing you can measure. Let's say your online ad generates 5 new customers for you. You spent $100 on the ad. So what is my cost of acquiring a new customer via this means? Let's say this particular website.
$20 so far.
$20, yep. The point of this slide, though, by the way, is not, you know, can you do the basic math? But will you? Almost no one actually does this calculation. So when you advertise anywhere, online or offline, you're always going to look for what is the cost of acquiring a new customer via that means, right? Because if I can pay $5 for an ad, and I get $20 every time I pay that $5, how often am I going to make that trade? Like every chance I get, right? I'm going to trade my $5 for that $20 over and over and over again for as long as it's still working. But if I'm measuring, I might find out that I can trade my $5 for $50 in another venue, advertising in another venue. But if I haven't done that calculation, I won't be present to all that. I wouldn't even know. So where I have limited funds and I can trade my $5 for $50, that's obviously going to be the place where I go. All right, fasten your seatbelts because we've got lots more to cover. All right, so converting leads online. We want to, don't just get people to your site, we want to get the right people to your site. And that means you're going to be advertising in the places where your exact right ideal client is. And we'll talk some more about that. We're going to get the right people to the site. We're going to give them a reason to stay on the site, give them a reason to come back over and over, and then give them reasons to buy from you. Do you know one of the most common reasons that startups fail is because they can't articulate why someone should buy from them versus their competitors. So you want to look at that. If you don't know yet why somebody should buy from you instead of someone else like you, you want to work on that and create something, right? So you can speak it in a way that's inspiring to others, and they actually see the possibility of working with you when you speak your value proposition. So a lot of startups fail, you know, they say something like 85% in their first 5 years of business. So people always ask us, how can I be in the 15%, not in the 85%? This is one of your tools, value proposition. Be able to speak your value proposition.
Liz,
Yes.
is this program available through the email, whatever? Because that's really nice on what you're saying.
Oh, yes. Well,
Is
we're
it?
actually videotaping it tonight, so it's going to be available on our website and on the library website.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So you'll be able to review it and catch any of the pieces you missed if you want. This is a tool called the Value Proposition Canvas. You can download this online if you like. But what it says really might be too small to read. It says you want to develop a product or service that people actually want and need, right? So if you go over here and you start talking to your customers, now Like before you get started or before you get well down the road, start talking to your customers. Ask them what they really want. How do they experience the problem or the pain? So most businesses exist to address some problem, right? To solve some problem. So your customer has got pains over here that they don't want. We want to get rid of, right? And your customer's got gains over there, benefits that they want that they don't have yet. So they get pain they don't want and a benefit they don't have yet. And we want to address both of those things. So before you get all well down the road with your business model and your business product or service, we want to find out what do your customers actually really want and need. And we want that product or service offering to do the thing the customer actually really wants it to do. So start talking to your customers. And staying in touch with your customers is another way to stay ahead of the game. So you want to identify your ideal, or I call it avatar client, right? That means that, again, not everybody out there, but a very specific niche. Who is already raising their hand saying, yep, I'm interested in your kind of product or service? That's where you want to be. So find out who your avatar client is, where they're hanging out online, what websites they are on, what publications they read. That's going to help you figure out where to be. So this is an example of a landscape designer who clearly identified her avatar client. Her avatar client was female attorneys in a certain neighborhood that had a household income of over $100,000 a year. They like to entertain at home, and they have enough disposable income to spend on landscape design. So what you'll see is when the librarian presents tonight, the library has some tools that if you have this clarified, you can go to your librarian and they can help you find all the people who meet this very specific profile so you can market to them. I'm also going to look for my psychographics, right? How does my customer think, right? She wants her home to look impressive. She doesn't have time to do the gardening. And she makes the buying decision, by the way, by asking for referrals from within her neighborhood. So now we know we've got to start a buzz going within this neighborhood that we want to work in. Right, so this is going to be valuable information for you. So this is all part of your market research. Right, that's you finding out who your customer really is, where they are, how they think, how they make a buying decision, how they experience the problem, and what kind of solution they want. So I'm hoping that you will all want to be a big fish in a small pond, and not the other way around, right? Uh-oh. Wow! Okay, what's on my screen is still my presentation. I don't know what happened there.
You just stop taping.
So we'll keep going while she's working on that. So we're going to identify our ideal client profile, right? We're going to get known and be everywhere within that niche. We're going to look for what message will resonate with our particular avatar client, right? And how we wordsmith that. And by the way, how you find out what keywords to put in that wordsmithing of your value proposition is by listening to what customers say. What words do they use when they're talking about the experience of their problem or the solution that they want? Let's see. And we're going to find out where they congregate online so we know where to go. Oh, here we go. Are we back? Maybe it will come up. We want to find out who the credible experts are in our industry too, by the way. What blogs does my customer read? Who do they follow? How can I get them to follow me? And how can I get the attention of the people who read the blogs in my industry? Okay. Hopefully they'll get that going. So here's the best piece for tonight, right? What most people are missing in their ads, in their online advertising, and also offline advertising. advertising is making an offer. Do you notice how often you ignore an ad, right? Because we're so bombarded with ads all the time. So you want to actually make a clear, compelling offer in every ad that you have, right? None of us as small business owners can afford to have just branding ads, right? Where we show, the Coke logo or our logo, right? We want to have an ROI on every ad that we place. So we want to have an offer in every single ad. A clear, compelling offer with some kind of urgency, like limited time or limited supply or something that would compel people to act. And we want to tell them exactly what action to take. Because if you don't, did you notice they don't? Or you as a consumer, you don't. Unless they tell you exactly what to do.
So I can share an example. My mom is getting ready to re-roof her house, so she's getting bids. And one of the companies was online, which had a coupon that said $500 off complete installment if you had the coupon at the time of your appraisal appointment. It said right there. So if later on you saw the coupon, it's like, sorry, didn't follow the timeline. So that, and so she's like, honey, I can't print it out. It's okay, Mom, I'll copy it, email it to you, you'll be good, don't worry.
$500, that's a pretty valuable coupon.
Can I get that email too?
Roof doctor.
Okay.
So for us as small business owners, we're gonna let brand impressions be a happy byproduct of selling. We're not going out to brand ourselves. We're going out to sell something, right? We need to have sales occurring so we can get momentum and keep momentum. And the branding, the brand building is gonna be a happy byproduct of sales occurring. That's gonna happen on the way. Can I do anything to help there?
I don't know what was done. I'm just trying to get back to.
We were fine and then we just went to Netflix.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are we doing? Actually, this.
Can I ask that question?
Yes.
So, one of the things that you said is you were trying to get people to come back to the website, obviously, for additional sales or what have you. Is the strategy different if what you have kind of a one-shot thing? You probably only need one of these for the next 10 years or something, so you probably won't be coming back.
Okay.
That's just one item. Would that be different than, are you marketing to as a wholesaler instead of as a retailer or both? So that you're, because once somebody buys your product, chances are they're not going to need another one for a long time.
Yeah. It's a bit of a different strategy, isn't it? Because if you have a one-time product or one-time for a long-time product, you're always after new customers. So you don't have to worry so much about your loyalty programs and that kind of thing, the frequency. You're going to be more always on the hunt for new customers at every juncture. So you got to keep finding new places to be where people are already interested in your kind of product or service.
So is that when your strategy, instead of going, I mean, you might have some online sales, but instead you're going to really hopefully attract retailers who will buy from you and sell as a wholesaler instead. So the distribution gets out in retail stores. I mean, because it's just the one item.
Okay.
I have that situation also,
Okay.
but I've been looking at this funnel concept, and I see, after studying it for a while, I see a lot of things where I could maybe go onto my website and create a funnel where they go, oh yeah, I can get this there too, and hopefully I'll be making some variations in my one-off product at a different size or tools that they can put on.
So what kind of product do you have?
I've created a patent pending tool holder that rivals the pegboard system.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's just small, you can put like 24 tools on it and no hooks to fly off.
Oh, excellent. Okay, very good. Okay, great. And you'll notice, did you notice she said patent pending? So, do you guys watch Shark Tank at all?
Yeah.
Seen that? Yeah. So, do you notice the sharks always ask people, do you have your intellectual property protected? Because if not, then people can come in and copy you and such. So some ideas may be patentable, and that's one of the services that we offer at the Washington Center for Women in Business, is you can come in and meet with an attorney for $25, a screaming deal, to talk through something like, is my idea patentable? Do I need a trademark? How do I get a copyright? Right, all of those intellectual property issues you can talk through with us or with one of our attorneys. So good for you for protecting your intellectual property, because that could become a very valuable part of your business. How about you? What kind of product did you have?
Oh, it's a bag, it's a type of bag to serve a certain purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, and, you know, for a pet owner.
Oh, okay. All right, great. But you're trying to get it into retailers instead of selling retail, you're wholesaling it. Is that right?
Well, we're not even that far, this is just kind of, we're still an idea,
Okay.
you know, how would you go about doing it, and is it worth, I mean, you need to have a website, you need to have a web presence to understand that, but versus retailing and selling it off of the site,
Mm-hmm.
either better to be a wholesaler and sell it to pet stores or what have you.
Okay.
I think you need to work on your elevator speech here, so that you can define your product in 30 seconds and make me compelled to listen.
Yeah, I'm trying to be big and consider because.
Well, it's
It's
something,
not there.
you know, if you want to come in, you'll see in your goodie bag there that we offer one-on-one business coaching. And so if you want to come in and talk with us about, you know, okay, which is the best way to organize my business model? You know, should we focus on wholesale? Should we focus on retail? Should we focus on online, and how come? We can help you to sort all that out and really look at what you want your different revenue streams to be in the business and which ones are most lucrative for you, because that might tell you which ones you want to focus on, right? So, good.
Yeah, I had an experience, still have, is a store I would do a survey and you get your 30% off on
Mhm.
next time.
Yeah.
Well, this last survey I did, then they said, we want your email address.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, and they quit the survey.
Uh-huh. Yep.
And what, to me, why do you, as a customer, why do I want to give you my email address?
Mhm.
Or if I don't have one, if
Mhm.
I'm in a rest home, nursing home,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where I don't go or don't go to the library,
Active email.
how do you how would a person, because I basically said, hey, forget it. I'll go into your store, I'll look at the product, then I'll go online and find it cheaper.
Yeah, did you notice many people do that?
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, yeah,
the brick and mortar people, business people are feeling that, for sure.
how do you deal with that then, you know?
Well, a lot of times when a website asks you for your email address, did you notice they want your email address so they can market to you, and hopefully they offer you something of value in exchange, right? Hopefully you do the same thing too. You may be trying to build your list so that you can market to your ideal clients. So you will want to offer them something valuable in exchange for their email address. It could be a video clip that, you know, talks about your area of expertise. It could be a white paper or a report. It's something of value, right? Because most people, you might not give your email address up just for anything. You know, you're going to give it up only when you're actually interested in the thing that they're talking about. And that's what I want you guys to do too, is find the people who are already raising their hand and saying, yes, I'm interested in the kind of thing that you offer, right? Those are the people we want on your leads list, right? Because which is more important when it comes to your leads list? Quality or quantity?
Well, I have maybe the survey and the people in the store really like that, go through 5 or 7 times, then just recently, they put this, we want your email address.
Oh,
Hey, I don't have one.
oh, okay.
Or I'm not going to, you don't know.
Well, maybe you could give that business the feedback and say, hey, I
Yeah,
want to be able to
2
access
pages
this
of
survey, but I can't.
writing,
Yeah.
2 to 4. Because
Just let them
what
know.
about if you are in a restaurant, nursing home, you know, and you like the store, they have a booth.
Mhm.
And this is a good way, because since they're a nonprofit store, they go full retail and the profit goes to somewhere else, you know. Okay, well, I'm not gonna pay full retail when I can go online or
Yeah.
go to some other bookstore.
So I think there's a lesson to be learned here, right, for all of us. So if you don't want to lose your customer, then you got to give them some incentives to stay with you, to actually buy from you, not just to shop you, but to buy from you.
And that 30% discount was why I went through that survey and wrote up my comments on them. Now, we want your survey. I went halfway through it, and when I said no, they,
Yeah.
and I lost that 30% off coupon because and it's like, why go back?
Why don't you ask them if there's some other way that you can get the coupon? Just tell them you don't have the.
That's why I'm writing a 2 or 4 page note.
Oh, good. You'll let them know.
Saying, because I'm not only looking for me, but I'm looking for people that don't go normally on their website, or other people that want your website, so it's junk mail. You open up a new email called junk mail. I'm saying that that's what people are doing. If we want your email, well, I don't want to give it.
Yeah, so maybe offer an alternative to that, because
Yeah.
maybe not everybody wants to give it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I was explaining to them, and that's why I told them, hey, I'll go in the store, I'll look at the product, you know, and study it.
Yeah.
Then I'll go somewhere else.
Well,
And
maybe
tell
let them
them
know
that you're-
what would satisfy you as a customer. It'd be great to let them know that, yeah?
Why, the way it was before, no email address.
Yeah, tell them that. Yes?
So, in my situation where I do have just this one product now and it should last them for years,
Uh-huh.
should I, you know, it might be a year or more before I get other products that I can put into the funnel.
Mhm.
Should I wait until then to start collecting those emails, or should I go ahead and start collecting them now?
Oh, gosh, I'd start
Yeah.
collecting them now.
Yeah.
Right,
build them up,
because
okay.
the more of a list you have to market to when you launch, you know, the stronger of a launch you can have. So even if you're not ready to sell your product yet, you know, some people even do pre-orders, right? Like you find out what your customer wants and needs, your customer says, I want this, you take their order for that, and once you have the orders in, you go produce it, right? That way you get paid up front.
Yeah.
So that's one possibility. Yes.
It's here, because it's connected to
Okay,
3.
it looks
but
like it's working.
And you need to,
I don't
if
have
we can
that.
escape that and then go back into it.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. Yay! Woo! Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna jump back into this and see how much we can get through here. So we talked a little bit about making an offer, right? That's the gold for tonight. That's the biggest part. Make an offer. If you don't have an offer, you very often don't have any ROI on your ad. Okay, let's talk a little bit about search engine optimization, and then we're gonna get right into website. You'll want to identify what are your top 20 or 30, we call them long tail keyword phrases. So what those are is, you know how you search in Google, right? And you put a string of words in there? That's a long tail keyword phrase. If you just had one word, that would not be long tail, that would be just one word. So instead of, so I might say, you know, Mexican restaurant 98512, right? A lot of people start choosing a zip code now, and they're looking for something local. So that might be a long tail keyword phrase for me if I had, you know, Mexican restaurant in that zip code. So you'll want to figure out what are your best long tail keyword phrases that you should be optimizing for? And they're going to be a number of places. They're going to be in the programming of your site, right, which nobody can even see. They're also going to be in the copy on your website, like you're talking about those things on your website. They're also going to be in all your social media channels, right? So we're going to optimize for those same long tail keyword phrases that are our best ones that we want people to find us by. And that's going to be across all our online mediums. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We're going to use them in the programming, use them on the site, all our social media. And by the way, you can optimize your YouTube channel itself using all those keyword phrases. And you can optimize every video that you have on your YouTube channel separately for the keyword phrases that are relevant for each video. Right? And that's all going to help people who are looking for the information you provide to find you. And you'll want to update your site and your blog, if you do blogging, regularly, right? Because now search engines look for, is your content fresh? It's not enough to post a site and 3 years later it's exactly the same as it was before. Google doesn't like that anymore. You got to keep that content up to date, hopefully at least monthly, but if not, then weekly is great too. A lot of people do a blog and they'll post a new blog post at least once a week, maybe twice a week, and that keeps your content fresh.
Do you know what the optimum that Google is considering as fresh?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know if they consider, once or twice a week optimum, or if they consider every day, somebody who posts every single day, more relevant. I'm not sure about that. Thank you. Here are some of the online mediums that you might be using. All the different social media platforms, obviously. And people ask all the time, should I be on Facebook? Should I be on Instagram? How do we know, right, for your particular business? You look to see where your avatar client is, right? Does your ideal client hang out there or not? And that's going to tell you, right? Same thing with print ads, by the way. Should I advertise in the Olympian? I don't know. Does your avatar client read the Olympian? Or do they read Thurston Talk or some other publication, right? So that's how to think about that, to know where you need to be. You're going to be all the places your ideal client is. And they may not be in all these, or they may. And for some of you, if your product or service is very visually oriented, then Pinterest or Instagram might be good for you because they're visually oriented.
I was trying to say, if you do like the Olympian advertise through Friday through Sunday, those are the weekenders. Those, you get more people. They don't get their paper from Monday through Thursday.
Right.
So if you're going to advertise from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay. All right. Good. Right. That's when your readers are there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because that's the main reason I get the weekenders, to find out the events, what's going on,
Yep.
and the ads.
So if you were part of your ideal client group, then we know that you'll want to be in the paper because you read the weekend paper, right? Very good. Okay, so how can you identify your long tail keyword phrases, right? You can go into Google and start typing. Did you ever notice you start to type something and it brings up 3 or 4 more phrases like that it thinks you might be trying to? So those are things that are being searched by. So type in the ones that you think would be what people would be looking for you by and see what you can find. You can also work with a search engine optimization expert, and we do have some here locally, who can help you figure out what keywords long tail keyword phrases you ought to be optimizing for. They have software where they can tell what's trending up and down. How many people in Washington searched by a certain keyword phrase over the last month, over the last year? Is the train going up or is the train going down? That's useful information, right? And we can also review our competitors' keywords that they're using, right? Unless they hide them. A few people do. But a lot of them you can still see. If you want to know how to view your competitors' keywords that are on their website, then come talk to me and I'll show you how to view that. You know, it used to be that the whole search engine optimization thing was so that you could get somewhere in the top 10 on the first page of Google organic search, right? But things have changed now because we have all these social media platforms. Now, we could be all of the first few pages of Google organic search if we do it correctly. And what I mean by that is I'm taking my same, let's say, set of 30 long tail keyword phrases that I want to be found by. I'm using them throughout all my social media and my website so that when someone types in one of those keyword phrases, they get a whole bunch of me and my company. They might get a link to my website, and then they might get a YouTube video that I did, and then they might get a blog post I did, and then they might see a review of my company, and then they might see my LinkedIn profile and my Facebook page for my business, and a guest blog post that I did, right? And so I could be all of page 1, 2, and 3 Google organic search if I do this well. So this is another piece of gold for tonight, right? If you don't get anything else tonight, take that one with you. If you want help with how to implement that, then come in and we'll talk to you about how to implement it in your particular case.
I was trying to find a particular business. She has a website. She builds websites. Okay. And I had the name of her company and the suffix to it, and I put that in. And I got all this stuff, all these LinkedIn and Facebook and all, not her page. I could not get to her website.
Oh, okay.
It was, I had to go to one of the who is pages,
Oh, wow.
and where it said,
To
you know,
find her.
click to the website.
Okay.
Even putting in her address, I couldn't get there.
So that's interesting, isn't it? A web designer, you would think would
Yeah.
have that
It
handle.
was amazing. I
So
decided
that
I
tells
didn't wanna
you
do
that person, so that'll be a very nice lead in into just a couple minutes about websites here. So in the world of web designers, you find people who have maybe graphic design skills, who've been working in print for a long time, but are now moving to web. And those two mediums are different, by the way, doing graphic design for print and doing graphic design for web. You might also find somebody who's a programmer. They might be a great programmer, but they might not have graphic design skills. And you might also find search engine optimization people, right? They have search engine skills, but not the graphic design and programming. So you got to shop carefully for your web designer. And if you want help with that, then let us know. We can give you some more training on that. So we're obviously going to run out of time here. Sorry about the technical difficulties we had there. Let's just hit a couple more high points about your website. Having a purpose for it, we talked about that. These are some of the purposes for which you might use your site. What's that?
We have till 7.
Okay. Okay, good. I'll have to wrap up soon, but because you have more content as well. But you can use your site for credibility building, to position you as an expert, right, in your field. You could use it to build your list. You could use it to build a community, right, so your customers are talking to each other. You could use it to sell or to upsell. You could use it to generate referrals, right, to gather leads that might not have found you from any other source or any other way. Or you can use your site for a combination of all those things. So you want to be clear when you go to your web designer, what's the site supposed to do? Which ones are these things, or maybe something else? And we're going to design the whole site to accomplish the purpose that it's actually for. Okay, we did say we talked a little bit about costs and techie language, what costs are involved in a site, so let's do that quickly before we wrap this part up. So for your website, you're going to have some hard costs, right? The cost of registering your domain name, the cost of hosting service, right? Hosting service is just special space that you pay for on a server that's connected to the internet 24/7, and hopefully it's on the earthquake-proof racks and all of that kind of thing, right? Make sure your site is up. You're going to have the cost of the design and build of the site, and maintenance and updating the site on a regular basis, hopefully. And you'll want to find out, are they going to build the site so that you can update it? Or are they gonna build the site so they do the updates? That would be an important distinction, right? Can I update my own site? Do you wanna know if they're including search engine optimization or not? If there's any online marketing that's included? And you may wanna plan for every, so many years, the redesign of your site, so you can freshen it up. Let's see, now just about the merchant processing question, I want to address that. So if I get credit card processing, right, through, let's say, my bank, I might pay a setup fee for that, and then I'm going to pay a maybe per transaction fee. Maybe it's 25 cents per transaction or something like that, and then I'm also going to pay a percentage of each transaction. So maybe it's 2 or 3 or 4% for my merchant processing, and that's whether I'm doing my merchant processing on my website or not, right? If you choose a service like PayPal, I pay a higher percentage, but I don't have a setup fee. So that's a little distinction there. So you could go to any bank and say, do you offer merchant processing? Show me your fee schedule, right? And then you could compare setup fees, how much is the cost per transaction, and how much is the percentage per transaction, and find out which bank has the right fit merchant processing for you. And when you get involved with the different techie people, we hope that your website designer and developer is going to help you navigate that whole system. What pieces of technology will work with others.
I found out with Square, they do now have a gateway you can put onto your website, or on your website you say order here, and then you insert their link, and then Square is offering you a free website through them.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you go there, then there's all your products, or whatever products you want to list.
Okay.
And so that was really handy.
Good. Okay, so that brings up another good question too. There are template websites and there are custom websites, and you want to know which one you're buying, right? Because with the template, you kind of fill in the blanks, you can change the colors, and some things are adjustable and some things are not. With a custom site, you can put things exactly where you want them on the page, or your designer can. And sometimes when you get a free site, then the company who provides the free site will be advertising on your site. So you just want to know that up front, that they may place an ad on your site if you're getting a free site. One last point here about web development, and it also applies to logo development, and I'll just leave you with this part. I just want you to know, there's a whole world around color, right? What our unconscious meanings are that we assign to colors. Same thing is true of fonts, right? You notice, some fonts look playful and whimsical, and some fonts look, credible and authoritative, or strong, right? So any good designer will have a lot of training in both colors and also fonts, and can help you choose something that's a right match for your company, for your site, and for all your marketing collateral, right? Because we don't want to have a mixed message in our brand. We want to have a brand that is congruent across all the different mediums, so that people associate the right thing that we want them to associate with our brand. Okay, and I think with that, we'll just stop and take some questions, because I want to be sure we hit your questions here. Any website or online sales questions? Yes?
I'm wondering about shipping, and is there like a free shipping calculator or?
Yeah, how do I handle shipping? Isn't that a good question? First, we have to decide, am I shipping only in the US or am I shipping internationally? Right, that's a big question. And then most shopping carts, whether they're a template shopping cart or a custom shopping cart, will be designed to calculate it for you. So you will tell it, certain restrictions. Okay, if it's within Washington, maybe it's one price, or you can tell it, oh, I'm going to calculate it by the weight, or I'm going to calculate it by the size of the box, right? And your shopping cart, once you tell it the parameters, is going to calculate all that for you. So each time when a customer clicks, yes, place my order, it's gonna figure out what the shipping costs ought to be according to what you told it. But most designers will be familiar with working with different shopping carts, and they can help you get it programmed correctly, so you can be sure that it'd be great if shipping was actually a revenue stream for you too, right? You actually had some profit on your shipping costs, So I would set it up that way. And you can charge a handling fee, by the way. What's handling for? That just means you packaging up the product and taping it up at like the time of that. You can charge for that too.
And at which point do you decide that those costs bundled together are prohibitive?
Well, there's a what the market will bear, right? So it's an experiment. Actually, a lot of us, as we start a business, it's all an experiment, isn't it? And one of the pieces of that is, what will the market bear? How much can I get for this product or service from a person who really values it? And who are the people for whom the problem I solve is the most urgent? Like, they'll pay anything to get that problem solved. Or they'd pay anything to get it solved today, if they could. I recommend that you start with that ideal client. The top ideal client is that one for whom that problem is so painful for them, and they would buy it today and they'd pay more for it just to get that solution in their hand.
Something else I just ran across is sales tax. In Washington, they're
Yes.
just killed with it. And a lot of the shopping carts may not interface with another service where they'll take all the information and sort it out and figure your taxes for you. There are those services out there. If you're only selling ones or twosies, it's probably not that hard to figure it yourself. But if you got hundreds a day or a month or whatever, you might.
Yeah, you don't want to do it by hand. You
No.
want to get it automated.
Yeah.
So in Washington State, some businesses have to charge sales tax, right? Many do. And if a few kinds of service businesses might not have to charge sales tax. So you want to go on the dor.wa.gov, right? That's the Department of Revenue website. And first of all, see if yours is a kind of business that has to charge sales tax. If you're not sure, right, that's where you can find out. And then DOR also has an app now that you can download to your iPhone, and they're working on an Android version as well. And the app allows you to figure out what the sales tax is for any zip code. So if I have the app on my phone and I'm at the Puyallup Fairgrounds at a trade show and I'm having sales occur there, I can type in the zip code of where my show is, where my transactions are occurring, and I can see, oh, it's .083 or whatever it is. Now I know exactly how much sales tax to charge while I'm at my trade show. So it's a cool app. If you haven't got it, it's just super easy to use. Okay, what other questions? Any other questions about online sales, websites? And just know too, I know we had a short time tonight, but we are right in Lacey. We're a resource for you, and we're out to just be an ally for you in your business. So you'll see my cards are over here. Our web address is on your goodie bag. Come in and get plugged in if you like. You're going to hear some more from Tony tonight and from the librarian about all the resources that are available to you. But I would just invite you to get plugged into all those resources, because if you are, your odds of success are going to skyrocket. You're way ahead of people who aren't here tonight already. Just being plugged in and knowing what all your resources are.
So we can go to this address and talk to you then, or, okay.
Yep.
What are you, the program manager?
Yep, for the Washington Center for Women in Business. Yep. And we help men too, by the way. We don't discriminate, because we're funded by the SBA, by federal dollars. So we have lots of couples that we coach, or, so anybody that shows up to us and says, I want to learn. I want to develop myself as an entrepreneur. We'll help you to do that. Okay, with that, I think I'll turn it over to our librarian for the next piece.
Or Tony?